friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So I am outdoors by a new product I want to share with you. And y'all know I don't do a ton of product reviews, but this is made by Pavoris, same company where I got those amazing solar lights for the front and the back of my house. So I've really enjoyed working with them, and they sent me this. So let me show you that it is easy to uninstall, and you simply put 2 screws which come with. You slide this on. It is multi-positional, so you can go out with it, you can go down with it. I have to say I've been super impressed and so are the girls. Can you hear them talking? It comes with this little remote control. So I wanted just to share some features, and I do have some talking notes because I don't want to forget to tell you any of the fabulous things. It has a very long lifespan, very high quality lithium battery, and this was inspired by the look of retro gas lights. So in the morning, when it's still dark and I come out my back door to go to the chicken coop to check on the girls to do their food and water before they're really up for the day, I like having some light. So this has been a great solution. They're solar, so it's free. It doesn't cost you any electricity. And it also really improves safety. So I will explain the modes and why I have it set on what I have it set on. Even though I have security cameras and a security system, I like having additional lightings. So the 3 modes, you can see it has mode 1, 2, and 3. Mode 1 is what I have it set on right now, and it will light. I don't know if I can get it to do it because, yeah, it's bright outside, but I will insert a clip right after this to show you what it looks like. It's amazing how much light it brings. So it will stay brightly lit for 15 seconds in mode 1. In mode 2, when a person passes or it detects motion through this sensor, it is going to make a low light for 15 seconds. And then mode 3 is just a low light that stays on continuously. So maybe you're having some problem with creatures and critters and you want to be able to look out and see. This is definitely the solution. So right now I'm going to insert the clip right here so you can see how pretty these lights are. I love the product. I will leave a link in the description below. It has 192 LED lights, and you need to use the link to get a special discount. And guys, I'm telling you, I've used this for quite some time before I said anything. If you look back at my videos, I kind of forgot to do the review. Thank you, Tommy, for reminding me, but I am so impressed. I would like to have a second set for the other side. That's how much I like them. And I like to put my money towards things that bring me safety and add benefit and convenience to my life. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, stay tuned for that clip. So as you see, when I come out, when it's still dark in the morning, as soon as I step in front of the lights, they come on, and that really helps light up my little trek to the chicken coop and my morning chores. Really handy. Well, let's get to work this morning. So as the title of the video suggests, I'm kind of thinking which is better. And of course, I know what my preference is: store-bought canned soup or home canned soup. So while in Ohio, it's a little bit early, y'all, for true harvest time, other than, some early things. You've all seen me harvest turnips. We have the lettuces, the herbs are coming on strong, but it'll be a while, probably a month or so before I'm ready to harvest anything major to can. So I was going through my pantry. I recently cleaned out my pantry again. It's like a never-ending thing. And I thought, I have very little canned soup on the shelf. And when we get into the busy days where we're doing so much canning of our garden produce, or if you're a farmer's market produce, those days can be super busy, and it's nice to be able to have a meal ready type jar that you can open and heat for dinner rather than to have to cook. You can also make a nice salad, some crusty bread in a bread machine. There's all kinds of ways to feed yourself fresh in the summer, but maybe still utilize a few of your canned goods off the shelf when you're up to here with prepping fresh. So today I pulled out my Ball Blue book, and I actually had forgotten about this recipe. And so I want to say what I'm going to be doing today. One is USDA approved. The other is not, but I believe it is safe. And to give full credit, this is from the Abundant Pantry. They offer master canning classes. I will leave a link to where I got this recipe if it is still live on the interwebs. So a loaded baked potato soup with bacon, onion, garlic, celery, potatoes, chicken broth, some spices, yeah, and a little bit of clear gel to thicken it. I think this is going to be really, really good, and the clear gel is optional. The other item that's going to take me a little bit longer is their 10 bean soup. And if you look at what the approved canning methods are in the USDA, it says don't can with cured meats. But what has been tested and allowed are smaller amounts of bacon and like chopped ham. So we are going to use the chopped ham in this. So it calls for black beans, kidney beans, navy beans, pinto beans, great northern beans, black-eyed peas, which I don't think I have, split peas, chickpeas, lentils, ham. It does call for fresh green beans. I'm not going to put that in there. That's just too weird to me. Bay leaves, tarragon, salt and pepper. So seems like it's a pretty easy recipe. It's going to make 6 quarts. So I thought I would pull out. So we need pinto and kidney and did I say pinto? Yeah. Oh, I already got the pinto. Some great northern. So I'm just going to pull all of these out. All of those are in half-cup measures because I don't think I have black-eyed peas, but I might. This is some overflow. I may fill in the recipe with another bean that I have in abundance. So I'm going to speed myself up, run around here, gather all the beans, measure them out into one of my big bowls, and we're going to get to canning some 9-bean soup. All right, I hope you'll stay tuned. All right, y'all. Well, here is the reality of a lot of home cooking. You know, your kitchen gets to be a mess and you just pray nobody comes to your door. So what was I doing? I measured out the beans. I added a little bit more pinto beans than what the recipe called for because we're not using the green beans and we're also not using the black-eyed peas because I don't have any. I think you can use almost any bean. If you want to do a USDA approved recipe, certainly check to make sure that it's not a prohibited bean. So I've washed the beans really well. Off camera, I went through and kind of sorted them. I'd already washed them once. But I just wanted to show you the process. Drain them well. And guys, you find like random stuff in your beans, you know? Like here's a piece of, I don't know what it is. Wood, straw, probably something from the growing area. And there was one bad bean. I do buy my beans in bulk from Azure, if you're wondering why I have those huge jars. But y'all, they last forever, and I can make so many different things. And if times got really tough, you can actually plant those beans. So I've rinsed them very, very well, drained them, put them in a pot. I'm using my enamel coated cast iron because that's what I have. You want to cover them with 2 inches of water. You want to bring it up to a boil it for 2 minutes. That's step one. So with beans, I will fully admit I have used the dry canning method for a lot of different types of beans. I am not going to, with the meat and everything in this, I am going to follow the recipe for sure. So I'm gonna bring it up to a boil it for 2 minutes, and then, y'all, the next thing you do is remove it from the heat and let it soak. We're going to drain off that water and then kind of do the same thing and cook it for 30 minutes. But I'll bring you along. So watch pot never boils. I'm going to time this out. I will let it set for the hour. I'll bring you back to show you what the beans look like because they're going to grow in size. I hope you'll stay tuned. Okay, y'all. Our soaked beans, as you see, have colored the water, and that is straight up from the black beans. So we're gonna drain it. And the directions say, return beans to a large saucepan, add water to cover by 2 inches. So we're gonna do that. So as you see, the beans have expanded, but they're not, you know, gigantic. They're not full size. They're still quite hard when you touch them. Pan is still pretty warm. Excuse my mess, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and cover it. And this is just a residue, if you will, from the black beans. Nothing, it's not dirt. So this is going to make a little higher water level in the pan, but that's okay. And now we're going to cook the beans for 30 minutes. So I'm just eyeballing what's like 2 inches over. It's going to be a pretty full pan. But this liquid is what gets canned as part of the soup. So there we have it. Ugh, that's warm. So let me swing you around here. Don't get dizzy, don't get dizzy. Over to the stove. All right, so what are we going to add? Now I will tell you, I just turned it on high. I'm gonna have to, keep a close eye on it. It calls for 1.5 cups of diced ham. Okay, and when you put it in, make sure you splash it everywhere so you'll have a big stove cleaning project. Oh, my word, y'all. I'm just going to break this up because I just pulled the ham out of the refrigerator. Now, occasionally, you'll see like parts of beans or bean husks that will come up to the top after they've soaked. Just pick out, and y'all, my hands are clean. I washed right before we started here, i.e. my dishpan hands. Okay, so 1.5 cups of ham, 2 bay leaves, which, what did I do with my bay leaves? Right over here. Y'all. I got these bay leaves, and I want to show you this. I think I still have these up here. These were the McCormick ones that I bought. They are so tiny. Can you see how tiny they are? Like there's nothing to them. These, my friends, are from Azure. A fraction of the cost. Big, beautiful bay leaves. And we're using this for flavoring. It will be taken out. Can go back in the long-term pantry. Now, it also calls for summer savory. Y'all, I don't have, whoopsie, summer savory. That is not a very common herb, so I did a little research. And guys, this is my freeze-dried, vacuum-sealed, homegrown sage. Oh, and it looks like that sage is one of the closest, if you will, flavors. So I'm just going to rub the sage between my hands, as you see here. So you definitely want to start with clean hands. Mix that in. And one of my particular favorite herbs, and I will be re-vacuum sealing this so it stays fresh. I need my little cleaning rag. I can't stand that, y'all. Is tarragon, and it calls for a tablespoon of tarragon. Now you have to remember, y'all, this is 6 quarts of soup that we're making. So this is a brand new, whoopsie, tarragon. So I'm gonna measure with my heart. Y'all, if you've never had tarragon, it is almost a licoricey smell, but oh, the flavor that it adds. I love making tarragon rock Cornish hens. It's not something I have very often, but it's a really great addition to add that tarragon. And even though I'm not a drinker, a white wine sauce. I'll have to make that for y'all. Then it just says salt and pepper to taste. Y'all know that I'm not a big salter. I'm having trouble getting this open, so there we go. Let's add, about 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. And then I'm using non-iodized pink Himalayan salt. And I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons, which is not a lot considering it's 6 quarts. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna carefully bring this up to a boil, and we're going to let it simmer for 30 minutes. Then guys, we will be ready to start jarring up. Now this is a very long canning time for quarts. I will be using my Presto Precise electric canner. I'll give you the directions for a gauged canner as well. And again, these are from the Ball book. This is not my original recipe, but I think it's gonna be really delicious. I absolutely love bean soup. It's one of my favorite things to have. And you could do some cornbread in your sun oven. Y'all, if we ever have sun again, it's been really cloudy this week, I'm gonna do some sun oven dishes. I actually have some honey mustard chicken that I made, that I shared with you, I guess I'll say, that is thawing in the refrigerator. And I'm hoping tomorrow we'll have enough sun I can actually cook it, because I am loving my sun oven. I would not be canning and cooking in the house, but it is raining, so I have to do that today. And you know, that's one of the downsides of my outdoor kitchen, is that it isn't covered. I would love to have a retractable awning. All right, I'm gonna let this simmer. I'll bring you back when we're ready to start jarring up and talk about the numbers for canning. One of the things you do want to do, now my ham was fully cooked, is you do want to give a taste to the broth. Let me give this a good stir. I can smell that tarragon cooking. It smells so delicious. Y'all, if you've never tried it, it's amazing. But let's get just a little bit of the broth. It's good. It isn't too salty, and the flavor is going to develop with the ham as we can, and also as this cooks for the 30 minutes. It's not quite up to a boil, and then we're going to simmer for 30. I just wanted to remind you, taste your product before you put it in the jar, because it's only as good as what you put in the jar. All right, y'all, our beautiful and delicious bean soup is all finished. I have pulled the 2 bay leaves out, and y'all, I will in full disclosure tell you that I felt like this soup was missing something pretty significantly missing something. So I decided to add a little bit of granulated garlic and onion powder. And those are not spices that are going to impact the safety of what's in your jar. So we're aiming for, whoa. Well, evidently we're aiming to get everything on the little mat, but that's what a canning mat is for. So we're aiming for about a 1-inch headspace. And y'all, the beans are going to expand in this, so do make sure you leave plenty of room. I am using wide mouth quarts. You want to process these at 10 pounds of pressure and for 90 minutes, an hour and a half. So this is a long process item. I am using 4 jars lids. I am not a sponsor, but I really love their lids. So into the canner we go. I'll let you know how much this makes. All right, y'all, I did go back and debubble that first quart. It's hard to film, talk, and do all the things. So I already have preset everything. I'm going to vent the canner for 10 minutes, then the processing time will start. Now this is going to be a long process time plus a long cool time. I had originally planned to do 2 soups for you all today. Excuse whatever's on my mouth. I decided that might make it too long, but we'll see. I'll see where I am on time as far as the video goes, because I'm editing as I go along, because I still want to make the loaded potato soup, but that might be part 2. So this is, it made 5 quarts exactly, y'all. I couldn't do that twice if I tried. What I can say, I think it had plenty of liquid, but you could make it more liquidy if you wanted it that way by using a larger pot. If you're using a larger pot, because they don't specify the size, of course 2 inches of water in a larger diameter pot is going to give you more liquid, and probably that's the difference in the 6 quarts. I will say, even though it's a liquid, don't forget to debubble. So we're going to let this process. Y'all, it tastes so amazing. And as the title of this video says, why am I canning soup? Why don't I just go to the store and buy it in a jar? Because you can buy like 10 bean soup. And by the way, this is 8 bean soup. I had to recount, ciphering is hard. So let's talk a little bit about canned soup products, what is in them, and why I choose to can my own soup whenever possible. Stay tuned. I want to talk a little bit about using store-bought soup versus home canned soup. So there are certainly healthy choices, and I want to remind you all that these are soups I do have in my pantry. So it, for me, is unaffordable or impossible to 100% eat clean, but I try to do my best. But this is Pacific Foods organic roasted red pepper and tomato soup. It's absolutely delicious. This was on sale when you bought 3 through Azure a few months ago. And it has reduced fat milk, water, tomato paste, red bell peppers, cane sugar, so it does have some sugar in it, roasted red bell peppers, roasted garlic, sea salt, butter, sodium citrate, non-fat dry milk, rice flour, garlic powder, onion powder, spices. And all of the ingredients have an asterisk and says that it is, you know, they are organic products. So this, pretty clean soup, right? So then, I think this came, I'm not sure. I think it came from Dollar General. It is Good and Smart Prices chicken noodle soup. And I'm just gonna read you some of the ingredients. Everything is fortified. So it does have chicken fat, salt, potassium chloride, natural flavor, sugar, cooked mechanically separated chicken meat, sea salt, modified food starch, maltodextrin, disodium guanylate, beta carotene for color, yeast extract, ascorbic acid, lactic acid. So not clean, but I've seen worse, right? And not to pick on anyone's store, so I picked up my Walmart Great Value brand mushroom soup, and I was like, what is in here? Well, it contains cornstarch, modified whey powder, potassium chloride, sodium phosphate, yeast extract, titanium dioxide is color, which is highly controversial. It's a whitener. Natural mushroom flavor, caramel color. So there's some things in here, yeah, I prefer not to eat. And I do like using my own mix. But guys, let's just face it, sometimes this is what's affordable and convenient. But when you look at a chicken noodle soup, now this does not have noodles, but this is chicken, my homegrown carrots, some homegrown onion, and some store-bought celery in some chicken broth. This is super delicious. I can just use this and boil my noodles and make my own chicken noodle soup. Very, very good. This is my French onion soup. And again, homegrown onions, some beef broth, no additives, no colorants, no weird preservatives. So I really do think that the taste is delicious. I think that the effort is well worth it. And that's one of the reasons I can, because it's healthier. I believe I can control what goes into it. And it definitely and most assuredly tastes better. So I hear our canner starting to vent, and I'm going to take a little rest here, decide whether I'm going to do a part 2 or I'm going to save this potato soup for tomorrow, because it's getting later in the day and I'm a morning person. So stay tuned. Tick tock, only 6 minutes left. I do love that the Presto Precise counts down the last 10 minutes of your canning time, but it does take quite a while. This will probably take an hour until the steam is released. The pin drops and it will say done. So while we wait on the last few minutes of the canner, it's got a long time before it'll cool. I did a little research on the loaded baked potato soup, y'all, and I don't want to do anything that is making me money for a product that I didn't create, that I took a class on. So this came from the homesteading family. I took one of their master canning classes, or a canning master class. And yeah, I'm not sure. So I will reach out to them before I share that. I'm still gonna make it. I did want to hop on here really quick and tell y'all something. Remember when I was sharing about the Arrow Garden and signing up for the emails? Y'all, they have everything like on clearance. The Big Farm XL24 that I have is again on sale for $324, and its regular price is over $1,000. I can't say enough good about it, y'all. It's just incredible how things have grown. I am ready to harvest several salads out of it. I would get another one and hook them together. But today, y'all, let's have a moment of silence. My TV went, it's only 5 years old. Now, true, I bought it on clearance at Walmart, and I've ordered myself one that will be here not until Sunday, that's a little better quality. I'm not a big TV watcher, so it's not the end of the world. I have a TV upstairs. But I was just like, wait, what? How can it be dead already? All right, well, this was a long project, just with the amount of time that the 8-bean soup, I'm calling it, had to process, and the canner cool. I am going to show you a jar. I don't like bobbling them around, but this one's already sealed. And I want to show you that the beans are still holding their shape, so it didn't turn to total mush. I recently did Boston baked beans from the Amish canning book that came out, like refried beans, but that's okay. They're good, and so that's what really counts. But now I have 5 quarts. So a quart, you know, if you eat a cup of soup, if you're having a sandwich or a salad or whatever, that will feed me 4 times. If I'm having mostly soup and maybe a little bread on the side, at least feed me 2. So I have anywhere from 10 to 20 meals, depending on how much I eat at a time. I'm so grateful to have this on my shelf. It won't all get eaten this summer, so I will have some for fall and winter. So just a little follow up on the loaded baked potato soup recipe. I did check the terms and conditions from the class that I took, and it says that I cannot sell the content of the class. It does not say anything about recipes, but y'all, I Googled it. There's a million recipes very, very similar to the one that I'm going to be using, and I may tweak it a little bit based on what I saw out on the interwebs. So I don't think it's like super top secret. I probably will just do a part 2 video and show you some of the other things that I'm working on in my kitchen based on things I've harvested or things I can do this early in the season. It's still gloomy. It's still a little misty out there. I'm really grateful I haven't had to water quite so much. But tomorrow's supposed to be a dry day, so it'll be a little bit of time in the garden. Guys, my garden is going crazy. I'm hoping the yield bears out and we don't get a bunch of pests or like softball size hail or something that takes it out. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope it made you think a little bit about what's in canned soup compared to what's in home canned soup. And maybe you're not a canner, and if you made it this far, I'm really proud of you. If you're not a canner, but even just looking for fresh ingredients to make your own soup on a fresh basis, you can freeze it. You can also find some of the organic soups like the roasted red pepper and tomato soup that I showed you, and perhaps because they are a little bit more expensive, add that to your pantry shelf on kind of a gradual basis so that you'll have some delicious soup to eat, maybe in fall and winter if you're not a summer soup eater. I love soup any time of the year. I plan to see you all on Saturday, depending on how my mom is doing, of course. I know it seems like I'm here a lot, but actually I'm not. There's been just a lot of running and meetings and such to take care of. So Lord willing, I will see you on Saturday. I hope you're enjoying some summer weather. I hope you're getting rain if you need it, but not too much. And until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed. Take care.